Hi everyone, welcome to another Dan's Rest Stop. First, let me start off by saying in the message today, I am not trying to judge anyone. Only God is the judge of everyone, and one day we will all stand before Him and be held accountable. Now, although I am not the judge, I am kind of like what you would call when you go down the road and you see flashing lights, that there's a hazard ahead. Kind of consider me someone that's giving a warning that there is a hazard ahead. In fact, there's judgment ahead. And we all need to get on the right path, the narrow path to God. What we have seen happening is through the years, we've seen pastors and church leaders that have failed their flocks. Jesus is the overall shepherd of the flocks, and his flocks are all over the world with people that are supposed to be shepherds of those flocks. In some instances, they've allowed wolves into the flocks, and in some cases, the wolves are actually leading the flocks. And if you look over the years, you've seen scandals involving various church leaders and pastors. Some leaders are saying that the church is not relevant. It has to adjust to the culture. And at times they embrace parts of the culture that are contrary to biblical teachings. In 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 through 17 of the King James Version, it says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever." Now, I also wanted to address the situation with Pope Francis. Now, when I went to Catholic grammar school, we were always taught that the Pope was like a representative of Christ here on earth. But he has been making some statements that have caused me concern as to, is he really acting in that role? He recently had an interreligious meeting with some young people in Singapore in September of 2024, in which he told them all religions are paths to God. As I recall, Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Why does he not mention Christ in this situation? In fact, if you look at the notes on the meeting and what was said, the dialogue, I don't see any mention of Jesus. See how easy it would be to transition when the Antichrist arrives and says, "I'm the God that he talked about," when you don't make Jesus a part of this discussion. Also, I would like to talk about the doctrinal issues in the church between denominations, different churches. There are all these doctrinal issues and differences between them. Now, how does that affect a non-believer? Someone that wants to consider maybe looking more into Christ What happens to them when they go to one of these denominations and they say, well, we have the truth. Those other guys over there, they're false prophets. And then that person goes to the other group and they say, you see that group over there? They're false prophets. It has the effect of totally confusing someone that might actually be interested in learning more about Jesus. And what happens is they throw up their hands and they say, I don't know who to believe. And look at, they can't even agree with each other. Now that's the non-believers. What effect does it have on believers if there's all these doctrinal disputes? What it does is it creates division among them. Division, chaos, and conflict. Now, who does that benefit when there's chaos, division, or conflict? Satan, who's the creator of confusion, division, chaos, conflict. Now, in the Bible, Jesus said, upon this rock I will build my church. I think he would be really disappointed in what has happened to his church. We're in a time of an election right now where politicians have slogans and things like that. Every politician's got a slogan. If Jesus were to have a slogan, it would be one church, one message. Now, all I can do is pray for the people that I have mentioned in this video. Pray that they open their eyes and ears and hearts and get back on the path, the narrow path to God. You have to remember another thing. We are citizens of our own countries, but more importantly, we are citizens of God's kingdom. God is not a citizen of our kingdom, a kingdom we have created in our mind with a repackaged God to suit our image. Think about what I have said. That's all for now. Goodbye. After I finished my previous video and posted it, I got additional insight into the information I had presented. Now, the first thing I need to say is that the slogan that I presented earlier, one church, one message, is not something I created on my own. I give the glory and honor to God on this one. Now, I would like to share an analogy I was given. And what I was given was the concept of the Old West and the covered wagons. If you've ever seen an old Western movie, you see how the covered wagons moved from the east to the west in wagon trains. And the wagons are kind of representative of different churches. Now, the wagons at the current time are on different routes. I mean, they're all trying to get to the same place, but they are not together with each other. And so the first thing that has to be done is the followers of Jesus need to unite, put their differences behind them, and they need to bring the wagons together. As a matter of fact, because of where we are right now, the covered wagons need to be circled. Because there's already persecution of Christians taking place in different parts of the world, and it's only going to intensify in the future. So we need to support each other and pray for each other. And like in the Old West, the cavalry comes to save the day, and you hear a bugle charge. It's kind of similar to what will happen when Jesus returns and saves the day. As a matter of fact, there's a Bible verse, Matthew chapter 24, verses 29 through 31. In the King James Version it says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." Maybe I was given that insight because of the bugle being similar to a trumpet. One church, one message. And that message is God in creation and Jesus in salvation. That's all for now. Goodbye.